but that's not going to work because what that's going to do is usually people use and by default, and that's, as you saw, the default. Well, it's not the default. It used to be the default. Now you can select. I'm just used to the old Blender. If you use and, what it's going to say is the player has to press W and up arrow at the same time, which is not what we want. So when you connect it, just make sure that this is set, that your controller is set to OR. So we're going to contract that. It's set to OR, and you can actually name it to make it neat, just to organize everything. So we could call this move forward, or just forward. Okay, and we could call this forward, and we're going to add our motion actuator. So this is basically the input. Okay, the sensor is the input that the player, whatever the player does, or detecting collision or whatever. This is just a controller which selects, choose OR and whatever those other ones are. I actually don't know what these do, the XNOR, XOR expression. But this one, the Python, is for Python script, so we're not going to worry about that. But, I just like to give you guys this information in case you need it later on. So we're going to call this forward as well. And we'll keep it as simple motion. Okay, so make sure it's connected, all forwards. As I said, this could be forward, and call this forward as well because they're both forward. They're just two different keys. So the location, and I have this down on paper just so I don't mess around and experiment as I make the tutorial. So you want to set the location. Here's the changing the location on the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis, as you can see. I'm going to set this to -0.05. Okay, and rotation. And if you're wondering where I got this information, I just did it before just to make sure. As I said, I don't experiment while I'm doing this tutorial. It's just a waste of time and it cheeses people. Okay, so rotation on the x-axis. So this is on the y-axis, -0.05. On the x-axis, I'm going to set this to 5. Okay, rotation 5. And on force over here, on the y-axis, I'm going to set this to -10. So what this does is it moves the sphere forward. Okay, that's simple. What rotation does is it makes the sphere rotate. So it's not only going to move forward, it's also going to rotate. And what the force does is it adds like a bit of momentum to the movement. So when you press forward or W and release, it's still going to keep rolling a bit until it stops. So it's a smooth stop. It's just not going to it's not going to just like move. And just to show you how it's going to look without each of these, just with locate. Okay, P falls. You can see that when you press forward, it moves back, which sucks, of course, so we're going to fix that. But you can see that it's just moving the sphere. So we're going to change this to 0.05. Actually, this is the front. You want to make sure that the y-axis is pointing to the back. Okay, that's how I like to do it. If you like to do it the other way, then that's how you like to do it. But I just like to go the opposite of the norm, but whatever. Or you could just do it normally, okay, and have the y-axis pointing forward. So this is forward. You can see it only moves it forward without rotating or anything like that. And when you stop, it stops immediately. No momentum. So what you want to do is rotate, as I said, set that to 5. And, whoops, -5. I got this the opposite way. Okay, so -5. And you can see, whoa. Oh, yes, of course. What it's doing here is, because it's rotating, you notice that it's going around. Because it's rotating and the front keeps on changing, because when it rotates downwards, its forward is that way now. Okay, so we don't want that, so we're going to deselect L. So it's not going to go relative to the sphere itself, its rotation. It's going to go relative to the world. So now if you notice, it rolls. It's fine. Okay, but the same thing, there is no momentum, so that's where our used to be -10, now +10 comes in. you notice now that when you press forward, it slowly stops. Okay, so that's what's good about that. You can play around with it, of course. I'm going to disable the L there as well, just in case it causes any more glitches. Okay, so that would be our forward. What you're almost close there. What you're gonna do is just basically do the same thing. Okay, connect an OR and add a motion, except we're gonna change the numbers around. This is back, of course. I'm not gonna name it just because I don't want to worry about it, but you guys should name it. Also, remember to save Control S every now and then, just so you don't lose progress. So, motion here. This is for the back, so whatever I said here, I'm just going to put the opposite. Negative 0.5. Negative 0.05, sorry. Rotation 5. And force on the y-axis would be negative 10 here. Okay, so always remember the L's, of course. Always test out just to make sure you got everything right. So, okay, let me make sure I'm facing the front. As I said, front, Y is pointing forward. Okay, so you can see that it moves forward and backwards. And you notice that if you go back, it builds momentum. So when you try to go or if you go forward, whatever, you know, it builds momentum. So whenever you change direction, it kind of slows down. There's kind of a resistance that you can kind of see there. So that's cool. And that's what